Welcome to Breaking Sales, a podcast dedicated to helping you have tough, meaningful, and rewarding conversations with your prospects and clients. In meaningful, what we mean is these are the conversations you truly feel like you are the prospect or client's conversational peer. There's no anxiousness or uncertainty holding you back. You feel a sense of calm and confidence in asking the tough questions. Not thrown off by the bad news, and you expect the prospect to think about and invest into the conversation as much as you do. On Breaking Sales, we use the filter of psychology and innate human behavior to deconstruct the many misleading sales approaches that actually work against your efforts to build trust and close the business. Let's get started. How you start can dictate how you finish. If you start slow in a race, you have to play catch up. If you start an introduction awkwardly, you are now fighting first impressions. In either case, a poor start leaves little margin for error. How do you start your business conversations? Do you default to pleasantries because that makes you feel better? Do you jump straight into what your business does because it's easier than asking questions? Or do you simply wing it because you've convinced yourself you're good at reading people? The science and research will tell you that none of the above are effective. You only think they are because that's the story you've told yourself. A bit cheeky on my part, yes, but still very real. How you start a conversation will dictate the quality of that conversation, the depth and openness in what you learn, and the trust exchange between you and the prospect. So if you are there to impress the prospect, find their pain, and/or advance a sale, you will be met with resistance. Sometimes the resistance is obvious, but all too often it is professionally and politely masked by the prospect. Why? They're used to doing it. In this episode, Pam and I are talking through what it costs to start a conversation the wrong way and what it looks like to set the tone from the beginning. And that tone can easily separate you from your competition. I had a couple sales calls recently. This is going to be interesting.
Okay.
And these were individuals that were trying to sell us, and they were AI related based on some of the projects that we have. What I noticed was none of them, not single one, there was probably 4 or 5 of them, different companies, not a single one set the tone of any kind for the conversation. So, you get on the Zoom, you get on virtual, and each time there could be between 4 and 6 people on the call. And there was no set path. There was no agreed upon process or agreed upon structure. And it was all just so cash. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. So glad that you could meet. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for your time. Every single one of them. And every time I went through that, it was just really interesting to reflect on it. Like, especially when a couple of them would say, hey, thanks for the opportunity. And I'm thinking to myself, interesting already.
Think there's an opportunity? Yeah.
What's the opportunity? Well, the opportunity for them was to sell us. And it's like they never really thought through, how do we want to at least try to guide this conversation at all? Some of them wanted to talk about literally the weather. I'm not kidding. Hey, I heard Midwest, Indianapolis, a lot of weather recently. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, is that why we got on this call? Because we're gonna chit chat about the wind and the weather and the lightning storms, or where are we going?
Right? That self-awareness, pick up on the fact that Dan Lappin doesn't like small talk. Get over it and move on. That's that whole building rapport, Dan. And you and I both know from all our DISC training that only 30% of the population wants that building rapport. So even that you're like paying attention to Dan's giving me one word answers. I need to move on here.
Yeah, it was very interesting. As I do get a little older though, Pam, I will tell you, I don't mind a little bit of small talk, but the weather one, not so much. Maybe choose a different path with me. But
I still don't like any of it.
in their defense, they're not going to know that about me, right? And I didn't hold that against them.
No, but they should pick up on it as the conversation goes. You know how I am about that.
So on a couple of them, I flipped it. So I took over. I said, okay, we're all on this call. And I asked them, remember, they're trying to sell us their services. So I asked them, what do you guys want to get out of this call? I'm the prospect. It was very interesting. There was definitely a theme of, we want to show you our capabilities. We want to show you that we are capable of helping you in this project. There was one that said, like to learn more about what's on your mind. But he was the only one that said that. The rest of them immediately jumped into how they wanted to show capabilities, talk about their expertise, share how they're helping other companies similar to ours with an AI strategy. It was all about what they wanted. And that was very interesting.
How did you respond to, well, Dan, here's what I'm looking to get out of this conversation. I'd like to demonstrate some of our capabilities to you. How did you respond to that?
I tried to respond kindly, but my response was, okay, but don't you guys think you should do some learning first and try to understand what we're looking for, what's important to us? And that was my response.
Did you ever get to the point with any of them that you felt a demo wasn't necessary based on the conversation? Like, to your point, I know you want to show me your capabilities, but I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. Did any of them, before demonstrating capabilities, did they help you come to the conclusion, you know what, I don't need to see your capabilities based on what you've learned about Lapin? Probably doesn't make sense to see the capabilities presentation.
None of them came to that conclusion on their own. In fact, all of them were hungry to show some kind of example or demo of how we would potentially structure our AI tools, our AI product. They all wanted to show it. And that you could tell that was a win for them, which was kind of silly, right? Because if you think about it, that was their goal. How do we show what we do really well? None of it was about helping me think objectively, which, ironically, because none of them helped me think objectively, we have been a little bit in a quagmire on the decision, because we keep trying to take a step back and say, okay, what are we missing? What are the pros? What are the cons? What do we risk? What do we gain? And we're trying to do it even though we don't have that AI expertise. We're doing it through a very novice lens. But none of them have asked me anything objective. Now, some of them have done a good job with some other questions, but it's all about what they want to show and how they want to prove. But let's go back to the beginning. It's so interesting to be the prospect, because if one of them just would have said, hey, Dan, I know we've got 45 minutes. First off, Dan, what would you like to get from our conversation today? That would have been amazing.
What would you have shared? If somebody had started that out with you, what would you have said that you're looking to gain from the conversation?
I would have said, I want to better understand if AI can help me with this strategy that I have in mind. I want to better understand how it will do it and what's that process.
Okay, so can I play devil's advocate? Because we get this from sales professionals a lot. So if you ask me, hey, Pam, what are you looking to gain from this today? And I give that answer. Well, then let me show you our tool first and foremost. Because I hear this a lot from sales professionals. What are you hoping to gain from the conversation today, Dan? I'd like to learn more about your company. I'd like to learn more about what you all do. Okay, let me get into it. So how would you rebuttal that if somebody actually does say to you, I would like to learn more about your company and what you do. Never heard of you before. Like, we get that, right? I'd like to learn more about Lappin 180. I don't know anything about you.
First thing I would do, especially since that does happen when we have our prospect conversations, is I would say, great, we'll get there. Here's what I think would help us first. I'd really like to learn more about you, where you are in your business right now, and the trajectory that you guys are on. As I'm learning, when and if appropriate or relevant, I will share some things about Lappin 180 as we move along. But I want to make sure I'm sharing things that are relevant. So if it's all right, can you tell me a little bit first about what brought you to the call? What's on your mind? That's what I would do.
And so like that AI company, all right, so you want to understand if this is a fit. Let's take a couple steps back. Let me understand what you've even done up to this point. What do you understand about AI? What have you been researching about AI? Like, really understand your lens, Dan, on what you've been exploring and why you've been exploring it.
Yeah, to our listeners, Pam, you nailed it. It's understand the lens of the person you're talking to first before you share your expertise. Invest the 20 minutes, invest the 30 minutes. Get the lens. What's their recent history on the topic? What assumptions do they have on the topic? Right? What brought them to the point that they are today, that they agreed they want to talk? What's on their mind? What do they like about what they currently do? What do they think they can improve? How do they see that playing out? You have to seek to understand the perspective and lens of the prospect that you're talking to, first and foremost, before you're really ever in a position to start sharing anything relevant about your expertise. Thanks for listening to Breaking Sales. If you're enjoying this episode, you might also want to check out episode 159. Trust starts with permission to walk away.
Can I throw another curveball at you? You start that first meeting. Someone was told to sit down and talk to you. Hey, I think you should get to know Pam and Lappin 180. Okay. And so, And so you ask that question. Is there anything you'd like to get out of this today? Is there any particular place you'd like to start? Pam, I got to tell you, I'm only sitting here because someone told me that I should be. So if you want to, you can share a little bit about your company and we can go from there. All the time. So what do you do in a situation like that? I'm only here because someone else told me I should be sitting with you. I don't know that I even have a need for what you do.
Well, I definitely would not jump to sharing anything. That'd be the last thing I would do. I would probably just try to have a very just transparent heart-to-heart chit chat. I'd probably say something like, I get it. I understand that. And I'd probably say something around, I'm struggling because I don't think sharing about Lappin 180 right now would serve either one of us. Maybe investing a little bit in what you are experiencing in your business might be a good starting point if you're okay doing so. If you're not okay doing so and you really don't want to be in this meeting, which I get, we can stop the meeting. We don't have to talk.
And you and I both know we've both done that and we've both been taken up on that offer.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, not often, but yes, I have actually been taken up on that offer.
No, not often, but yes. Yeah, me too. Me too. For sure.
And then sometimes, right, in the rare occasion that you are taken up on the offer, I know the first time someone took me up on it, I said to myself, oh, all right. I guess I did make the offer. Well, all right. I guess this call's over. I mean, it was a little bit of a shock, but it was like the right thing to do because They were not interested and they were not in a good mood. And there was no way I was going to go through that scenario or have that experience with them.
Absolutely. And then to your point, Dan, the majority, if you kind of say, ooh, I get it. I understand. How do you feel about this? Are you open to me just learning about your business? And at the end of the conversation, we can determine if it makes sense to talk again. And based on how we start this, my guess is it probably won't be. And that's okay.
What's interesting about this particular scenario is that we actually won a client once who originally had done that. So I got referred in. This is probably 10 years, no, more than 10 actually. But I got referred into a business. I was talking to the president of the company. He was told to talk to me through an associate or someone that he knew, right? And they pushed pretty hard for him to talk to us. And so I got on the call and I could tell right away he wasn't that interested. And I said that. I said, hey, listen, if there's other things you want to be doing with your time, I get it. I know so-and-so connected us. And out of respect, it sounds like you're on this call with me, which I understand. But if you'd like this time back because there's other things more prevalent, right, on your mind, you can have it back. It's fine. And he said, yeah, absolutely. He goes, thanks for understanding. Not a good time to talk. Maybe somewhere down the road. 4 months later, we talked. I think it might have been 6. They became a client because it was a better time for him. He actually had to work through several things in his business. So that was an odd one where I did let go. I did say, hey, I get it. But then they came back.
My guess is that could happen a lot to a lot of us if we handle those first conversations right. And people can trust you. They know that you aren't looking to gain anything from the conversation by being willing to end the conversation.
So you mentioned a key word here, trust, and I want to get into it for our listeners. Pam, you're at the beginning of this conversation. Let me flip it. And they've never met you, this prospect. Could have been a cold call, could have been a referral. It doesn't matter. You're at the beginning of the meeting. And how do you start trust with them? You know that they're coming in with some biases. You know they're coming in with some degree, maybe of trust, maybe not, but not very much. And they're uncertain. So how do you build trust at the beginning?
Making sure they know I don't need to benefit from the conversation. We always reference, Dan, that Harvard Business Journal that was written in 2019. The number one way you can demonstrate to somebody out of the gate that you can be trusted is to make sure you communicate. I don't need to benefit from this. I'm not looking for anything from you. Out of the gate.
But Pam, I am looking for something from them.
Well, then, if you're, that's why we talk about all the time, if you're using these things as a tactic versus a mindset and a way that you want to be viewed because it is the way that you operate. And I don't know what it is about me, but the older I get, it is extremely important to me that people walk away from a conversation with me respecting the fact that I wasn't looking for anything. And it is, Dan, if you're using these things as a tactic, it'll come out that way. If you do not believe that you do not have to benefit from the conversation, it will be authentic and genuine and people will know it.
Yeah. So for our listeners, try to remember this, that no matter what, your prospects will always come into a meeting, especially the very first one. And there will always be that human innate instinct to hold you at a distance. It's hardwired in our brains, right? So going back, right, our ancestors, 20,000, 50,000 years ago, when one tribe would approach another tribe, one had food, one had shelter. They would approach each other maybe on a trade, a barter, whatever it might be. But they had to be really, really quick at gauging the intent of the other tribe, because quite often it could lead to death or harm if one tribe just decided to try to take what they wanted. That happened for tens of thousands of years. And so evolutionary psychologists and anthropologists hypothesize that that's what's created the way our brains function now. It's how our brains have evolved now, where we do meet people we are careful. We're looking body language, eye contact. We're trying to figure out, most importantly, intent. So every time a prospect sits down with you, please understand they are trying to figure out what is your intent over the next 30 to 45, 60 minutes. And to your point, Pam, the quicker and the more genuine you can communicate that your intent might be to learn, determine how and if they need help, but most importantly, your intent is that you do not need nothing, you do not need anything. That's what's important.
Exactly. And it takes a lot of practice, and words matter when it comes to how you start a meeting. Even going back to the very way you started this, happy to have the opportunity, glad to have the conversation. Like even switching those words. There is no opportunity. This is a conversation. Happy we're able to have a conversation today, not happy to have the opportunity.
Whose opportunity is it? Yeah, it's like, whose opportunity is it?
Exactly. Even your words, they matter on how you present yourself.
Yeah. Prep matters, words matter. The other one too is, and you and I talk about it a lot, is thank you for your time. The second you say that, and I know most people say it because they think they're being polite, but the second you say that, you are positioning yourself at a different level. You are telling the other person that their time is more valuable than yours, and that is not the case.
And that I may need you more than you need me.
Yeah. Instead of saying thank you for the time, why not just say, to your point, I'm glad we could make the time work. It's a we. I'm glad we could make the time work together. It's subtle, but it's very powerful.
The hearing needs them.
And then you and I talk about it. My favorite is you got to give the out. We did not invent the out, okay? But the out is letting the other person know that it's okay if there's no next steps at the end of the meeting. It's okay if there's a conclusion that either A, the prospect doesn't need help, or B, you're not the one to help them. Tell them that.
Yep.
The second you tell someone it's okay if this meeting doesn't go anywhere, it's okay if we decide there's no need to explore this topic further for now, it's okay, you've just told them that you will be objective throughout the meeting. And we as human beings value objectivity. Where we get all crossed is when we feel like someone's being biased.
Good topic this morning.
It matters. I know everybody thinks the expertise matters and the questions matter, and they do matter at some point. Can't explain or share enough how important it is to have a strong start to your conversation. And a strong start simply means communicate your objectivity. Let the other person know, okay, that it's okay if nothing comes out of the time together, if nothing comes from the conversation. And make it about them out of the gate. What would you like to get? What would you like to take from our time today?
Perfect.
Every person you sit across from is trying to answer two main questions before they answer any of yours. Number one, what does this person actually want from me right now? And number two, what's the risk in engaging with openness and honesty? I hope one of your takeaway points is that you can't earn trust if you're trying to persuade or push someone in a certain direction. And without that trust, you'll struggle to help them think differently about what they already believe. And what they already believe most often does not yet include you. So the next time you prepare for a prospect meeting, spend some time thinking about how you're going to open it, thinking about what your first words will actually communicate, because the conversation you're hoping to have only happens if they decide in those first few minutes that you're trustworthy enough to have it with. That's it for today's episode. If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you listen there. Thanks for allowing us to be a part of your journey. Until next time.